Welcome to this session of e-Padasala on solid waste management, where we will focus on municipal solid waste management. We generate different types of solid waste as part of our consumption and production activities, and in a generic way the solid waste or the waste which are generated in solid or semi-solid form as part of the activities of the human beings as well as the animals is categorized as solid waste, and there are different types. Broadly, based on the regulatory framework, the solid waste is classified into municipal solid waste, industrial waste, where we have both hazardous waste and non-hazardous waste, then the biomedical waste which are generated from the hospitals, electronic waste. In addition, there are different other types of solid waste for which as of now there is no regulatory framework exists. So, in this session we will be focusing on the municipal solid waste, which are the waste that are generated mostly as a result of the consumption that takes place at houses, at commercial places as well as institutions, and we will be able to classify this municipal solid waste into garbage, which means the putrescible or the biodegradable waste, the rubbish, which is the non putrescible waste other than the inerts, and the inerts which are not included either in the garbage or the rubbish, and mostly it will be in the inert form, and our focus will be mostly on the garbage and the rubbish and the issues associated with the management of such waste. Now, for each category of waste there are clear definitions given in the respective legal framework. For example, for municipal solid waste we have the municipal solid waste management handling rules, which has come in the year 2000. Similarly, for hazardous waste there is the hazardous waste management handling rules, which is there from 1989, and the latest one is in the year 2008. Similarly, for biomedical waste or electronic waste, the legal definition of municipal solid waste is what is reflected here, where it clearly says that the waste that is generated from residential area, commercial area in municipal notified areas, which includes solid or semi-solid form, excludes industrial hazardous waste, but includes treated biomedical waste, which means that industrial non-hazardous waste also could be considered as part of municipal solid waste. Similarly, if you treat a waste which is generated from hospitals, then that will be also becoming part of municipal solid waste. Similarly, at household level, if you are generating hazardous waste, that is also called as municipal solid waste. Now, broadly the waste that is falling into this group includes the food waste that is generated from our kitchen, the garden trimmings, both are in biodegradable forms, and the different kinds of packaging that we use for the goods that we buy, the containers, the packaging, which will be mostly the rubbish category, and any other goods that we consume once it expires its life, then we throw that, which could be of durable or non-durable form. So, depending upon our consumption, there are different kinds of waste which we need to deal, and since our consumption pattern go on changing, the characteristics, the quantity of municipal solid waste also change. That is the real challenge for a waste manager. The waste is highly heterogeneous, it is of different types and it is of different characteristics, and the characteristics goes on changing as the society moves its consumption and production patterns. But broadly we can look at it as the result of what we consume at our house, that is from the kitchen and from our garden, and also what we buy from the commercial places, the different packaging products, and also other discards. Now, the focus of this session is on municipal solid waste management. So, let us have a definition of municipal solid waste management. Municipal solid waste management has got several elements. It deals with the generation of the waste, the separation of the waste, the collection of the waste, the storage of the waste, the transportation of the waste, processing of the waste, and disposal of the waste. And when these elements are addressed, taking into different aspects, primarily public health, environmental protection, economics, resource conservation, and that in a manner which is acceptable to the society, then we can say that we are doing municipal solid waste management. And there are different ways by which we can do it. So, there is a priority or a hierarchy that is to be followed when we have different options, and that hierarchy for waste management is what is depicted in this cone form, where you can see that the topmost priority is to reduce the waste, and by reducing the waste what we mean is reducing the waste at the source, that is avoiding the generation of the waste. If we can't avoid the generation of the waste, then we may look at reusing it, by which we can reduce the quantity of the waste. And if reuse option is also not feasible, then the other options are recycling the waste, recovery of the waste, or ultimately disposing the waste. So, when we are applying this hierarchy to the different elements, starting from the waste generation to the disposal, in a way which is acceptable to the society, which is environmental friendly, which is resource conservative, and which is also taking into account the legal framework that is existing in that respective place, then we can say that there is municipal solid waste management. And for this purpose, what is most important is we should understand the waste. So, here we have a depiction of typical characteristics and composition of the municipal solid waste in Indian situation, where we can see that broadly the municipal solid waste is about 40% organic, and in the context of waste management, when we say organic, it refers to biodegradable waste or compostable waste. About 40% is biodegradable, and something which is special to Indian waste is that an equal amount of waste is inerts. So, which means we do not require any processing, and if we mix this waste with other waste, it only complicates the situation. And since there is lot of reuse and recycling happens in an informal way in our society, the recyclable waste, which primarily consists of paper, plastics, and bit of textiles, glass and metals, is about 20%. So, that is in generic way the composition of waste in Indian cities, but there will be variation from place to place, and also it varies from even on daily or seasonal basis, depending upon many factors, including the economic conditions, the season of the year, the regulatory framework, the attitude of the people, etc. But if we have to manage the waste, we should also know how much waste we are generating. For municipal solid waste, the waste generation is normally expressed on per capita basis, means per day how much waste is generated by an individual. On an average, in Indian society, the per capita waste generation varies from about 250 grams to 600 grams per person per day. Of course, in urban communities, the waste generation will be on the higher side. In rural areas, the waste generation will be on the lower side. So, this information can be used to calculate roughly the quantity of the waste that could be generated. The next question will be the space requirement to store the waste, for which we should not only know the quantity of the waste, we should also know the density of the waste. If we know the quantity and the density, then we will be able to arrive at the volume. So, typical Indian waste in a generated form, as generated form, the waste density could vary from about 300 to 400 kg per cubic meters. So, if you know the population that is contributing, the per capita waste generation and the density, we will be able to estimate the quantity as well as the volume of the waste that will be generated during a given period of time, which will be useful to decide about the waste storage requirements. Now, when it comes to the waste processing requirements, many other characteristics are also important. From a combustion point of view, if you are interested in burning the waste, then one important characteristics is the calorific value of the waste, and Indian waste is having low calorific value as compared to our western waste, because of the difference in the composition. For example, if you take an American waste or a European waste, the typical composition which we have talked about will be different. There about 40 to 50% of their waste will be paper and plastic, and the biodegradable fraction may be only about 15 to 20%. So accordingly their calorific value will be high. Indian waste, the calorific value is low, so which means that it's about 1/4 of that of coal. So the waste as such may not be amenable for combustion. Now if you are thinking of biodegradation as the route for processing the waste, an important characteristics is the carbon to nitrogen ratio. Ideally the carbon to nitrogen ratio has to be in the range of about 20 to 30 for the waste to be processed by biological means, either by composting or by biomethanation. Another important aspect that has to be kept in mind is that the waste generation rate goes on increasing, especially when the economic conditions improve, the population increases, the waste generation rate increases. And it has been estimated that in India the per capita waste generation increases by about 1.3% per annum, and the urban population increases by about 3 to 3.5% per annum. So which means that an yearly increase in waste generation of about 5%, if we take into account, we will be getting a fair estimation of the quantity of the waste. Now let us look at the need for solid waste management. Solid waste management is important from the point of view of public health, environmental protection, as well as resource conservation. Primarily municipal solid waste, especially the biodegradable waste, is of concern from public health point of view, because the waste acts as a breeding ground for the flies. It is also a breeding ground for different vectors, especially rats. Both the flies and the rats, they can spread different kinds of diseases, and it also can cause breeding of mosquitoes, not directly but indirectly if you indiscriminately dump the waste, and if that leads to stagnation of water, then that can lead to breeding of mosquitoes, which also can spread different kinds of diseases. So that is why municipal solid waste management in municipalities is mostly dealt with the health officials, and it is considered as the health issue, and it is dealt as a public health issue mainly. But at the same time, improper management of municipal solid waste, especially open burning of the waste, can cause air pollution, especially if you are burning chlorinated waste, chlorinated plastic, then it can even release carcinogenic substances like dioxin. And it is also an aesthetic nuisance in the form of odor that comes from the biodegradable waste, and also the aesthetic nuisance by the carry bags and the littering that is happening. In addition, it is also a hazard to the workers who need to be in contact with such waste. Then the leachate or the juice of the garbage that comes out when we are disposing such waste on land, or the gas that comes out when anaerobic decomposition of the waste is happening in the form of methane, which is a global warming gas, is also another contributor to the environmental pollution. The third aspect of waste is that waste is a resource, and we are living in a world where we have shortage of different resources. So when we are wasting materials, then we are wasting the resources. So from a resource conservation point of view also, we need to be concerned about waste management. So having seen why we need to manage the waste, now we look at how we are managing the waste. We had a good tradition of conserving the resources and reusing and recycling practices, which is slowly being changed, and we are now moving into a consumeristic society where the throw away culture is coming. So we may say that the first step in waste management is keeping the austerity in life and having what is essential for life, and that will lead to minimizing our consumption and also minimizing the generation of the waste. Second thing that is happening in the society, especially in our society, is that when we don't need something, we immediately try to throw such things out. So this is another aspect of waste management. You can see how if we are discarding the waste, especially onto the streets, and if the streets are like this, everybody feels that the waste management is improper. About 70 to 80% of the waste management activities are mostly focusing on addressing this issue, seeing that the waste is collected properly. And even while collecting the waste, if we dispose the waste on streets, then we are making human beings to subjected to conditions which are highly unhygienic, and the transportation of the waste also needs to be improved. So the collection and the transportation of the waste, and ultimately what is happening with the waste in most of the Indian cities, the waste goes to places where it gets dumped, the dump sites, which is really a burning problem, because most of the dump sites run out of space, and either purposely or unknowingly fires occur, or purposely burning happens, and which leads to air pollution problem. There is also the social problem of scavenging, where people scavenge dump sites, and then their health gets affected. Not only people, there are animal scavengers, plus there are groundwater pollution due to the leachate, air pollution due to the odor, and also public health issues that we have discussed initially also happens in such dump sites. And there are situations where such dump sites have got extensive contamination of the groundwater, and the groundwater gets contaminated, and once it gets contaminated, remediation of such groundwater is a very difficult and costly task. So the purpose of waste management is to avoid this kind of situations. So when this was the situation in the beginning of the year 2000, in 1998, there was some public interest litigation, and the Supreme Court intervened. They formed a committee which looked around the Indian cities, and they analyzed the situation and then made recommendations, and those recommendations were converted in the form of municipal solid waste management handling rules, which mandates 7 requirements to improve the situation. The first requirement is that the waste generator needs to segregate the waste and store the waste at the place of waste generation. Having stored the waste at the place of generation, the second requirement is the waste needs to be collected from the place of storage, that is door to door collection. And the normal practice of open storage of waste needs to be abolished. So which means if at all there is public storage, that has to be closed storage, and the streets needs to be swept every day, not to clear the waste that we throw onto the street, but mainly to clear the leaf litter and other things that falls. Now the fifth requirement is that the waste transport needs to happen in closed vehicles, and the biodegradable waste, which are the waste which could be processed, that needs to be processed, the recyclable waste needs to be recycled, and finally only the residue should go to landfill. That also should not be dump site, that should be sanitary landfill. So right from storage of the waste at the source in a segregated manner, door to door collection, abolition of the open storage, daily sweeping of the street, transport of the waste in covered vehicles, and processing of biodegradables as well as recyclables, and scientific disposal of the inerts if it is taking place, then the solid waste management is addressed. Though we have this regulation from the year 2000, the compliance to the various requirements is still poor, as observed during a survey which was done after 5 years of this regulation in the 2004, where it is found that many of the waste elements, the compliance is only about or less than 50%, and especially the last two elements pertaining to waste processing and disposal, our performance is very poor. So, which means where we should focus, and it is very important that all these elements needs to be focused together. There needs to be an integration of these elements. If only one element is focused, then even if that element works well, the other elements fail and the overall system fails, and that is how most of our dump sites we get mixed waste, and then that gets dumped and which contaminates, creating local environmental and social problems. But that does not mean that nothing is happening. There are good examples where the requirements of the municipal solid waste management handling rules are also practiced, especially in isolated area. One such city where such practice is even acknowledged nationally as well as internationally is the Suryapet in Andhra Pradesh, which generates about 50 tons of waste per day, and they have declared the city to be dustbin free, and all the waste is collected and managed according to the requirements of the municipal solid waste management handling rules. Similarly, the Namakkal city in Tamil Nadu also is practicing. There are many other small cities where the management of municipal solid waste is taking place, but most of our large cities there is lot of improvement needs to be done. Now, we may look at why it is so difficult or what are the issues associated with the management. The analysis shows that there are several reasons, starting from lack of technical expertise, lack of appropriate institutional arrangement to introduce the different elements of waste management like segregation, transportation, treatment and disposal system. More than that, lack of awareness or the indifference attitude of the citizens, and many situations even lack of availability of space to process the waste or lack of funds to operate the waste management system or finance waste management system are often quoted as the reasons. There are also technical constraints in the form of the mixed waste that we get. We have seen that the waste is mainly biodegradable, recyclable and inerts, and Indian waste is about 40% biodegradable, 40% inerts. If that gets mixed, then the first stage will be to separate that, and that itself is a very laborious process, and during the course of time the good waste also gets contaminated and the quality of the recyclables gets reduced. So, the mixed waste which increases the inert content, which changes the characteristics, always interferes as a technical constraint in processing the waste. And the second constraint most of the cities face is the lack of identified places to process. So, which means that waste management has to be considered as an element during the planning stage of the cities or the buildings or wherever we are planning any habitat development, and we need to consider that waste management also requires space, and the space needs to be allocated so that the waste processing activities can take place in the required manner. So, if we analyze what are the things to be in place and how that needs to be linked with reference to the waste management, the linkage of the different elements is what is depicted in this schematic, where on one end we can see that we have the dump sites which are the eyesores of the cities which needs to be rehabilitated. On the other side, we are continuously generating the solid waste which needs to be segregated, which needs to be processed, and being most of our waste in biodegradable form, if we are able to separate the inerts and the recyclable, the rest of the waste could be processed by either composting or anaerobic digestion, and the residue can go to landfills, and the landfills also can be operated as biodegradation process, especially by landfill bioreactors. So, if you have a combination of this, then maybe the waste management could take place in a sustainable manner. So, in the subsequent session we will be detailing some of these elements, especially to start with source segregation. Of course, since the waste is of different types, we can separate into different components, but what our law expects is that at least we should separate it into 3 components: the biodegradables, and that should be stored in a green container, so that everybody knows in a green container the biodegradable waste is to be put, the recyclables to be placed in a white container. These are the 2 categories of waste that we generate normally. Then once in a while we will be generating hazardous waste, the batteries or any other substances, the tube lights, that kind of substances, which needs to be stored in a black container. Maybe once in 6 months only such waste needs to be collected. So on a daily basis, the biodegradable waste and the non biodegradable waste to be segregated, separated, and considering our Indian situation where we are located in a tropical country, the biodegradable waste will undergo decomposition very fast. So we can't permit it to be stored for more than a day. So the waste needs to be collected as quickly as possible. Thank you very much.